So this is Sarper Akdemir, or Sarper Akdemir actually, but I've been introducing myself as Sarper because it's kind of easier for people to pronounce. You can call me whatever as long as I get it. I work for Lotropia, I do LibreOffice. I'll be talking about Pane in Impress and how the implementation of that came about and the pain involved throughout the process. It was, let's say, not a single implementation, but a round of implementations. Okay, what is Pane to begin with? It's been available since 24.8, and basically it lets you edit your notes just below the slide deck while you're editing them. This has been one of the, I guess, oldest requested features in Impress that hasn't been implemented in a long time. So what was the workflow before this? There were notes in Impress. How did it work? But they are still there, by the way. This is both of this notes pane and the previous notes edit mode coexist together now. And the previous workflow was you edited your presentation, then you changed the view mode to notes view. Then you had a preview of your current slide, then you could take some notes in this placeholder text edit area. You could just write some stuff and you see the notes while you're presenting, or if you'd like some printouts, that also worked. And the idea of editing your slides, then taking notes, works, but it's not entirely clear. Usually people take their notes when they are already editing the slides to begin with. So when you have a pane down in the below, it's very helpful to go through that. The Bugzilla report on Bugzilla is from 2011. So it's been requested a few times throughout, which it actually references another Apache Bugzilla bug report from 2005. So, this we wanted for it. Before starting about the implementation, the whole story about it, I need to clear out a few things. There are lots of terms that I'm going to use that sound exactly like the same thing, but they are not. So naming is hard, and so be aware. Like edit engine, edit view, outliner view, they kind of do the same thing, but outline view isn't outliner view. So outline view is a view mode. You can edit all of your slides together in this outline mode. That will be referenced. It is not outline. Notes view is the old notes view, and notes pane is the new thing that appears at the bottom, and you can do it. So throughout the process, we have this weekly call at Allotropia, and one of my coworkers, Moritz, coined this term, notes pane, basically, because notes pane and pane itself sounds quite similar, and it was true. So first implementation that I ended up scrapping was this docked window, regular docking window that appeared on the bottom of the slide, just as this. It used weld edit view, which is this UI widget that lets you embed edit engine, edit view pair into any kind of UI element. It lets you show up bullets, numbering formats, stuff like that, but there were some problems with it. We'll get to that. There was an existing implementation of weld edit view, a use of it in annotation text window for Impress. This is for annotations and comments in Impress, basically. I was kind of following that along. Since this new pane used the placeholder from the old notes edit feature, we kind of had to use all the font properties, formatting that it came with. There were already slides with notes in them, so we had to support that. But with the well-edited view, it was kind of appearing too big. To get around it, at the time I set global scale, so adjust the scale. Fun fact here, if you don't set this very interesting control bit on the edit engine called stretching, set global scale will only scale in one axis. It was kind of figure that out. It was hard to figure that out, and it wasn't obvious anywhere. But there's a huge problem with setting global scale on the edit engine instance. It isn't exactly zoomed, so it doesn't actually change how dimensions are treated, like how measurement units are treated or anything like that. It only scales fonts. So if there were tab stops, bullet points or stuff like that, they kept their original dimensions. So what happened was there were bullet points with huge spacings and little text next to it. That was a problem with it. And a big problem was in the notes pane you couldn't use any toolbars or regular sidebar property editing tools. There, as an initial workaround, there was just this context menu implemented there that you can right-click and just apply bold and stuff like that. But it wasn't entirely possible to use sidebar for this initial implementation with well-edit view. We would need a rewrite of everything. So after investigating if a workaround was possible for making the toolbar and sidebar work as is, well-edit view was lacking lots of bits. You can broadcast a context change wherever you are in the code, basically, as long as you have a reference to the Impress instance, and it would actually populate correct toolbars and the sidebar. But if you try to format it with that, it wouldn't do anything. It would actually end up formatting the normal view slide instead of the notes pane below. There was a possible workaround that would be extremely hacky. It's kind of used actually in writer's comments margin feature, where there are lots of special cases when formatting is going through, stuff like that. It checks if the margin is selected and stuff like that. But this gets ugly real quick, and this wasn't even in the same view shell. This was another window and another pane, so I scrapped that idea and didn't do that. So moving on, I thought, okay, what to do then? How to fix this problem? How to have toolbar and sidebar work? There is this possibility to have like slide sorter pane was already reacting to sidebar and stuff like that, but it didn't actually receive any formatting itself. So the idea was I kind of slide sorter pane has its own view shell. I swapped that with the normal edit view shell, so there would be two edit instances next to each other to see if that would work, and it did not. Apparently, the way things were implemented, the main view shell was the only thing that could actually receive any kind of formatting slots, basically. Yeah. So to rework this, the first idea was to scrap all of the well-edit UI ideas, and the goal was to fix this formatting tool by sidebar thing, inconsistencies in tab spacing, formatting, and styles, and zoom and size related issues. So the idea would be this pane would need to, in the end, handle any kind of dispatch command, just like any edit mode, and almost support everything the normal view actually comes with. Maybe not shapes, but anything that's related to text editing. So well-DDV was scrapped, went with having a new SDView and SDView shell pair implemented. So this NOS-Pane thing is actually a proper editing mode now, but it just lives in a pane. Outline view, this is not the outliner view, which will be mentioned also. Outline view, outline view mode already had this on the text editing edit mode, so that was an inspiration. So yeah, I went with something similar to that. And the idea was we would properly integrate into SD framework now. SD framework, I think I'm going to talk about it in a bit, but SD framework is the basically UI pane overseer of Impress. It takes care of panes, how they are shown, what their states are when you close it and stuff like that. But yeah, formatting in the sidebar and context switching wasn't actually trivial still. There were some problems with it. As I tried this two-pane normal edit thing, it didn't work, so there had to be some changes there also. Yeah, started to rework with integrating the SD framework properly and understanding these concepts of shells, subshells, toolbars, and dispatch commands basically in Impress. Let's take a quick detour and talk about SD framework. Sorry. What it is, what it is not. SD framework is not framework. There is a first level hierarchy. We have called framework that is the UNO framework. This is SD framework. SD framework is basically, I just mentioned, but the overseer of the current pane configuration in Impress. It uses these resource IDs to reference any kind of pane, view shell that appears in Impress. It has this ability to define them in groups, so a view shell can have an anchor. Basically, it's like having a pane. The view inside the pane also defines the outside of the pane, the borders, and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the anchor basically. Yeah, for instance, it also lets you refer things by human-readable URIs. So yeah, stuff like private resource pane, left Impress pane, and stuff like that. Yeah, and you can just initiate instances of them in some configurations. And another story to figure out was shells, subshells, and dispatch. Impress has a shell stack. On top of it, it has this subshell concept that you can have specific shells appearing with different toolbars. These shells basically take care of functionality that's specific to that toolbar. And yeah, when any kind of dispatch command is executed, it goes through the shell stack from top to bottom, and it resolves, on the first one, it can resolve the command. And every view shell has to implement their own dispatch slot, so that meant when making NOS-Pane happen, as a view shell, I had to go through basically every kind of UNO command that it could take and handle that properly. Yeah, but there are some problems with it. Hopefully you will find that and do some bug reports to me at some time, because there are lots of things you can do with it. If you look at two example view shell stacks and how they change between view modes to get an idea of it. For instance, if you're on the normal view, the view shell stack looks like this, starting with the draw view and going down to left Impress pane, which is this anchor I was talking about. And if you change it to outline view, there will be, instead of the draw view shell on top, an outline view shell and a text object bar that's accompanying that. The text object bar there is a subshell that comes with text editing toolbar basically. And instead of outline view shell handling all the text editing dispatch commands, text object bar basically does that, and in a portable fashion. Basically, you don't need to re-implement it for every view shell at that point. You can just have a text object subshell bar to make that work. Yeah, the subshells in the shell stack, I wanted to use the subshells for the nodes pane because I didn't want to re-implement text editing, all of the text editing dispatch commands for this very shell. But it is only triggered via mod changes, and this was not going to work when you're just editing the normal slide and just switching to the nodes pane on below. That's not a mod change, that's just a focus switch. So there had to be some changes in how this was going to work. Yeah, I decided to use subshells for its portability and not duplicating the implementation in the process. But it only worked with main shells. Yeah. Okay, then I have kind of introduced this concept of overriding shells, which would work in a way that the shell itself, when activated, would broadcast the context change with its own resource ID. And then if that specific resource ID is a shell that should override the main view shell, basically taking over the main view shell's duty, it would be defined, and yeah, it would become the overriding shell at that point. And if it loses focus, it goes back to the main view shell, just getting rid of the overriding main view shell. Yep. So with the idea of having overriding shells and adapting all shell stack or view shell manager classes to this concept of having an overriding shell, it worked. Finally, nodes pane view shell could have all the text editing options without duplicating the implementation. It made sense to support search in the nodes pane because it doesn't. Previously, Impress already had this document iterator for searching, and it iterated through all the normal pages first, and then all the nodes pages, and then master, and then handouts. So if you had a text in, let's say, first slide in your notes that matched, it would only appear after all the normal pages are went through. But this was not going to work for the nodes pane setup, where you already see in the same screen the text you're searching for, let's say, and if it just matched on the second page and it got you there instead of the one you are seeing just in front of you on the nodes pane, it didn't make sense. So yeah, document iterator was kind of refactored so that normal pages and node pages are iterated in an interleaved manner now. So first normal page first, then first nodes page. But if a match appears in the nodes page, it actually pops up the nodes pane and shows you the match there instead of taking you to another view mode. So it kind of more compact in that way. Supporting search wasn't trivial at all because maybe just doing a single search is always okay, but then you had to start search from the nodes pane also, and there was lots of special things going on for the initial search, populating this SD outliner class and stuff like that. So all of those had to be adapted, searching forwards, backwards, if it matched a shape, if it didn't match a shape. So it didn't expect to be searching this simple text view. Basically, it assumed everything was shapes, but nodes pane didn't have any shapes. So yeah, there was lots of moving things around to get that work. But yeah, eventually it did. Yeah, together then with the approach of SD framework, handling stuff, when you, let's say for the normal view, had the notes view open, you close Impress, you got it back open. Notes view didn't come back, basically. Notes view was, whatever the default configuration was, just going with that. It wasn't taking the last state in the account. To make that work, SD framework has this concept of modules. Modules are basically these listeners that listen to configuration events and react to them. So an Osprey module had to be implemented to take care of per view mode state saving and making that state persist across LibreOffice runs. Yeah, by per view I mean if you have the notes view open for the normal view, but not for the outline view, it takes that into account, and yeah, it respects that basically. Yeah, there were lots of minor cuts in the process. Drag and drop support lagged, so it basically crashed. But yeah, that was fixed, and copy-paste problems were everywhere. I hope they are okay now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are still edge cases. So I encourage you to take that for a run and let me know what's happening there. You know, in the end. Yeah, but it's in a usable state for sure. So when you're, maybe some of you already used it a bit while you were preparing your slide notes. I don't know how many of you were aware of it. It is not enabled by default yet, because when enabled, it caused lots of test breakages. Yeah, because it wasn't expected to have the focus on the notes pane on any of the tests yet. Yeah, notes pane is a proper view shell now, supporting spelling, zooming, searching, bullet points, styles, and hopefully more. Looking forward for your bug reports. Give it a spin. Let me know. You can see me. I won't be offended. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Yes, Regina.
You included already that the size of this page is small.
Size of...
The problem that it is too large or it is close, but
I see. So with regard to size, like with the framework module thing I did, it doesn't actually do anything about size. The size is still handled by the regular window configuration that goes on in Impress. There is a minimum size with it to work properly. Maybe that might be causing issues on your end. But yeah, if you can just report that on Bugzilla, I'll be happy to check that out. Yes, please.
Maybe I missed the point. Any option to print the notes or slide the notes together?
I believe that already existed before. Yes. But yeah, I'd have to check. That wasn't the thing I was working on specifically. That should be possible. Is that all? Okay, thank you.